Hello, Don Dokken? Yeah, it's me, the Bald Shredder. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bald Shredder channel. Today, I'm gonna tell you about the time that I talked to Don Dokken on the phone. It's true, I had a phone conversation with the one and only Don Dokken, lead singer of Dokken, one of my all-time favorite bands. Now this phone call took place quite a few years ago. It was not recently. Some of you who saw my video a couple of weeks ago talking about Don Dokken and his performance issues, you might have thought like, whoa, Don saw that video and he called me up to chew me out. Well, that's not the case. I don't know if he's seen that video or not, and if he has, he'd probably like to call me up and chew me out, but that's not what this story is about. We need to go all the way back to like the early mid-90s. So, just as a little recap, Don Dokken's solo album, Up From the Ashes, and the Lynch Mob album, Wicked Sensation, they both were released in 1990. Then, in 1992, George released the second Lynch Mob album, the self-titled album that included Robert Mason on vocals. There was no second Don Dokken solo album. So somewhere around 92, 93, I don't know exactly what the date was because this is many years ago, but it had to be around 92, 93 based on the release dates of those albums. I remember reading in NAMM magazine. It was a free sort of like magazine publication that you could get all around the LA area that had news, advertisements, and so forth. And there was a column in NAMM magazine written by a guy named John Sutherland. And I can't remember, man, for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of his little column. I'm sure somebody out there watching is gonna remember it. You're gonna know what I'm talking about. You can tell me in the comments what was the name of his column. And I always look forward to seeing his column in NAMM magazine because he always had some news or information. Remember, this is before the internet. You couldn't find everything at the tip of your fingers instantly. So every time a new NAMM would come out, I don't remember if it was every other week or whatever. Anyway, I'd go and find it right away and turn to the page where his column was and read stuff about what was going on with like some LA hard rock bands. So I'm getting my NAMM magazine from the record store or wherever. I turn to John Sutherland's column. I'm reading it, and he has something written in there saying that Don Dokken is looking for a new guitar player or new band members. I can't remember if it was specifically guitar player, but definitely it told me that, okay, Don Dokken needs a new guitar player. And of course, me being the gigantic Dokken fan and loving Don Dokken's voice, I was like, well, I play guitar. I have long hair. I had hair at the time. So of course I was interested, but how am I gonna get in touch with Don Dokken? I had no clue. I didn't know how to get in touch with him. So at some point after that, I don't remember how long it was, and I ran into the singer from an all-girl hard rock metal band called Phantom Blue. Anybody remember Phantom Blue? They were an LA band, all girls. They shredded. They were pretty awesome. And the singer's name was Gigi. G-I-G-I. I think that's how you pronounced it. I ran into her more than once. She used to work at a record store near where I lived, and I'd go in to like buy a CD, and there she was behind the cash register, and she'd ring me up. So, I can't remember exactly how this conversation went, but for some reason I'm talking to her and Don Dokken comes up in the conversation. Don't ask me how, but it did. And then it also came up that like she had his phone number. And I'm like, can I have that number? Because I hear he's looking for a guitar player and I'd like to call him and, you know, send him my demo or whatever. And then she proceeds to pull out her little like phone book, no cell phones in those days, remember, pull out her little phone book and write it down on a little piece of paper and give it to me. So now I'm armed with Don Dokken's phone number and I've got to call him and see if I can somehow like get an audition or something. Before I tell you how the phone call went and what happened with that, I want to give you another side story. So right about this time, you know, we're talking 92, 93. It's been a couple of years or a few years since Up From the Ashes, and I'm at the NAMM show and I see guitar player Billy White. He was one of Don Dokken's guitar players on Up From the Ashes, the other one being John Norum. Well, I recognized him immediately because I'd seen his pictures, I'd seen the videos, I knew it was Billy White. So what's interesting about this is that George Lynch was there, okay, and when these guys are there, they do a lot of autograph signings. They're at this booth, they're at that booth, and they're signing autographs, and George does a lot of autograph signing. So he's at a booth signing autographs, and I was there to see George, like I have a million times, to get him to sign something. And I look over to the side, there's Billy White standing there by himself watching George. And then when George finished with the autograph signing, he was done, he gets up and walks away at a pretty brisk pace. Like, he walked away pretty quickly. And guess what Billy did? He went right after him. Now, I don't know if George saw Billy. I don't even know if George would have recognized Billy. It's not uncommon for these guys to walk away quickly from an autograph signing because they don't want people stopping them, you know, can I take a picture, whatever, and maybe he had to get somewhere else. So I don't know if he saw Billy or not, but I was like, wow, Billy's like, was waiting there, and George is going, and now he's following him. And me, like a dummy, I didn't follow after them to see like what happened. Like, did he stop George to introduce himself? Like, hey, I'm Billy, I was on the Don Dokken album, I just wanted to say, you know, I'm a big fan of your playing. Or did he stop him and say, you know, I didn't like what you said in that one interview, that was kind of an insult. Or I don't know if that ever happened. But anyway, I have no idea what they talked about, but why didn't I follow him to see what happened? I regret that to this day. Alright guys, so I've got Don Dokken's phone number. So I go home, pick up my phone, not a cell phone, just a regular phone back in those days, and I dial the number. I wasn't really sure, like, is anybody gonna answer? Am I gonna get an answering machine, or is it just gonna ring and ring and ring, and if somebody does answer, they're not gonna know who I am and they're just gonna hang up on me? So I dial. The phone's ringing. Somebody answers the phone. It did not sound like Don. So I say, hi, can I talk to Don? And the guy goes, who's this? And I said, my name is Richard James, I'm a guitar player, Don doesn't know me, but I'm calling to talk to Don. And the guy says, okay, hang on a second. So he walks away from the phone, and I kid you not, like 5 seconds later, I hear this, hello, this is Don. And it's Don Dokken on the phone. And I'm just like, hi, I mean, imagine, he's one of my heroes, right? From the 80s. This is 1993 maybe. It's not that far removed from the 80s when I was in high school watching Don Dokken on MTV, buying their albums at the stores, whatever. So the fact that I'm on the phone with him was just pretty mind-blowing. So I say, you know, why I'm calling, I say, hey, I heard that you're looking for a guitar player. And then Don says, no, I'm not looking for a guitar player, that's not true. And my heart just went, ugh. I'm like, oh man, okay. And I said, oh, all right, well, I read that you were. I just wanted to see if I could send you my CD or my demo. And then he goes, well, okay, you know what? You can send it to me. I'll listen to it. If it really like blows me away, then maybe I'll get a hold of you. And then he gave me his address to send it to him. Now, it was not his home address, and that phone number, it was not his home phone number, it was to the recording studio. And he just happened to be there the day that I called. So anyway, he gives me the address, I proceed to get one of my CDs that I had at the time. To tell you the truth, guys, I don't remember if it was a CD or a tape. It might have been a cassette. If I'm thinking like 93, yeah, it might have been a cassette tape. So I put it in the package, I mail it off to Don's studio, and that was the end of it. I never heard from Don Dokken. Now, I don't feel bad about that because the very next thing that he did after that was he got back together with Mick and Jeff and George Lynch, and Dokken was back together. So, of course, getting the band back together, getting George Lynch back in the band, I had no chance or no shot, so yeah. And then in 1994, they released the self-titled Dokken album. This was the Japan release, which they would later on then do some re-recording, remixing, and then they released it in the US as the Dysfunctional album. Alright guys, so that's my story of me talking to Don Dokken on the phone. It's a really good memory to have. It's cool, you know, the fact that I was able to even get his phone number and that he even got on the phone with me is just totally amazing. And yeah, it was cool. Will I ever have another opportunity to talk to Don Dokken? Who knows? But if I don't, I'll always have that memory. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.